The crowds on the mall have dispersed, the ball gowns have been put away, and the celebrities have returned to their Hollywood mansions. And it's time for our new president to start making good on all those promises. And that's our headline on this Wednesday night. Down to business on this, day number 2 of the Obama presidency. Now, the president outlined some ambitious initiatives during the election and in the last 2 months, focused largely on the economy. Well, now it's time to deliver, and that may not be so easy. He's already facing questions on Capitol Hill from Democrats and Republicans alike about a stimulus package which could eclipse $900 billion. The Congressional Budget Office has already released numbers this week that have raised concerns about how effective this plan might be. We'll have more on that in Hannity's America in just a few minutes. At the same time, a breathless media continues to ramp up expectations for the new administration, using the word historic at every opportunity. And it's against this background that I spoke exclusively with the one and only Rush Limbaugh. So we have a new president now, Abraham Lincoln, or FDR, or Barack Obama, obviously. Well, first of all, what are your general thoughts about him as a person?
Well, this is really tough, you know, because I've never met him. I don't know him except how and what I've seen in television. And I'm suspicious. When I see the media and the entire establishment on the left lay down and become cult-like and not examine who he is, what he's done, and not really examine what he says, but just praise him because of how he says it, my antenna go up. I'll tell you, a lot of people right now just, they're absorbed in the historical nature of this, first black president and so forth. Well, that is wonderful. That's great, but I got over that months ago after he won the election. I mean, Sean, he is our president now. And he's not black, he's not from Mars, he's our president, he's a human being. We're a country comprised of human beings that the Democrat Party and the left have attempted to arrange into groups of victims, and that's who he appeals to. And the victims are the people waiting around for some grievance to be resolved. They're waiting around for something to happen for them, and he is parlaying that. So I think the fact that he's African American, his father was black, to me it's irrelevant. This is the greatest country on earth. We want to keep it that way. It is that way for specific reasons. Now, I look at the things that he has said, and I'm very much concerned that our greatness is going to be redefined in such a way that it won't be great, that we're just going to become average. You cannot have this large a government role in the private sector with so many people thinking that just because they're Americans, they're entitled to things, that this guy is going to be passing them out and keep this country great and innovative, full of entrepreneurs. These things concern me. Now, my critics and yours, when they hear me say things like this, they have knee-jerk reactions. They're not listening or parsing my words either. They're just, well, Limbaugh's not with the program. Limbaugh doesn't get it. Limbaugh is not sensible. The President of the United States, doesn't matter to me what his race is, what his ethnicity is. What matters to me are his policies and what his plans. And I only know what he has said he's going to do based on what he has done and how he's voted. And in terms of what I would use to define the greatness of the country, he's not it.
All right, let's take that a step further here, because all throughout the election, we all talked about the Chicago way, his radical friends, associates, etc., his past voting record. By the way, I brought it up a lot. You brought it up a lot. We all talked about it. What do you think he really is that, and people either ignored it, people don't care, or is he just somebody who is politically expedient? That's what he had to do in Chicago.
We don't know. See, this is the thing. Now, normally we would have, a mainstream media would have vetted this guy, and we would know this. We don't know what he is. That's the whole point. And people don't care what he is. They don't care who he is. They care that he's black. They care that he's historic. They care that they think he's an intellectual because of the way he speaks. It's all about how he speaks. I mean, I look at some of the facial expressions of people when they're watching the guy. It's frightening. But I'm a thinker. You know, a lot of people, I guess, aren't. People are emotional, and they react emotionally to things. And if he makes them feel good, especially in economic bad times, then that's all they're really going to care about. But I have to assume that he is who he is, and his radical associations are certainly things that have defined him. I mean, if you look at the executive orders that he's promised to issue, he's going to overturn the abortion law that has guided who we fund overseas in terms of family planning, and that's been a roller coaster. You know, Clinton imposed it. Bush rescinded it. Obama's going to reimpose it and so forth. He's going to issue an executive order to close Guantanamo Bay, but it ain't going to happen for 4 years. I think you use the word expedient. He plays both sides. He's going to placate the far-left fringe kook base of his website people, and, okay, he's going to close Guantanamo, but he's not going to close Guantanamo because he's not going to get out of Iraq in 16 months. He's going to say so, but he's not going to saddle himself with the defeat of our forces in Iraq or Afghanistan, and he's certainly not. I can't believe that he will willingly release people at Guantanamo who will come back and revisit terrorist acts in this country. Not on his watch. They would love for that to have happened during Bush. They would love surrender in Iraq when it's on Bush's shoulders. But I don't think he's going to do it. But he's going to say things that make his fringe kook base think that he's being true to his campaign promises.
All right, so then this raises this question. You're a leading voice of opposition, conservative, and have defined conservatives for over 2 decades. You celebrated your 20 years on the air, by the way, nationally syndicated. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Coming off a record ratings year for you. But you are a passionate conservative. You've defined conservatives for many people in this country for years. He represents the antithesis in terms of his worldview. So then the question becomes, do you want him to succeed?
Now, I am so glad that he asked me that question, that you asked me this question.
I'm glad to.
I'll tell you why. I am hearing many Republicans say that very thing. Well, we want him to succeed. And prominent Republicans, yes, we want it. They have laid down. They're drinking the Kool-Aid too. They have no guts to stand up for what their beliefs are because they're afraid of criticism. They're afraid of being called racist. They're afraid of not having gotten with the program. Now, success can be defined 2 ways. I said earlier, I don't know about this guy. I really don't. I've got my suspicions, and they're pretty close to convictions, but we're going to have to wait, see what he does. Now, if he turns out to be a Reagan, if he adds Reagan to his recipe of FDR and Lincoln, and if he does cut some taxes, if he does not eliminate the Bush tax cuts, I would call that success. So, yeah, I would hope he would succeed if he acts like Reagan. But if he's going to do FDR, if he's going to do the New Deal all over, which we will call here the raw deal, why would I want him to succeed? Go back. Look, he's my president. The fact that he is historic is irrelevant to me now. That matters not at all. If he is going to implement a far-left agenda, look, I think it's already decided, $2 trillion in stimulus, the growth of government. I think the intent here is to create as many dependent Americans as possible, looking to government for their hope and salvation. If he gets nationalized health care, I mean, it's over, Sean. We're never going to roll that back. That's the end of America as we have known it, because that's then going to set the stage for everything being government-owned, operated, or provided. Why would I want that to succeed? I don't believe in that. I know that's not how this country is going to be great in the future. It's not what made this country great. So I shamelessly say no. I want him to fail. If his agenda is a far-left collectivism, some people say socialism, as a conservative, heartfelt, deeply, why would I want socialism to succeed?
And coming up, more of my